Have you ever walked past a bustling restaurant and felt inexplicably drawn to it? Meanwhile, a similar eatery just next door sits nearly empty. This common scenario exemplifies a powerful psychological phenomenon: herding behavior. In essence, herding behavior refers to our tendency to mimic the actions of others rather than relying on our own judgment. Often we assume that the crowd knows something we don't. This assumption can lead us to make decisions that we might not have made independently. Consider the two restaurants again. The first few customers to arrive likely chose one randomly. However, as more people passed by, they saw a crowd at one restaurant and an empty one next door. Subconsciously, they assumed the crowded restaurant must be better. This assumption, amplified by the growing crowd, created a self-perpetuating cycle. This behavior isn't limited to restaurant choices. We see it in fashion trends, investment decisions, and even political movements. When faced with uncertainty, we look to others for cues on how to act. The larger the crowd, the more compelling its pull becomes. This tendency is deeply ingrained in our psychology, a remnant of our evolutionary past where following the group often increased our chances of survival. The process by which herding behavior spreads is known as an informational cascade. In an informational cascade, each individual's decision is influenced by the observable actions of those who came before them. This creates a chain reaction where information, or the perceived lack thereof, is passed down the line. This cascade can lead to dramatic shifts in collective behavior, even if the initial actions were based on limited or flawed information. Imagine a group of people asked to guess which of two jars contains more red marbles. The first person, seeing no clear indication, makes a guess. The next person observes their choice. Even if they have a different hunch, they might doubt their own judgment and follow the first person's lead. As more people join the line and follow the initial choice, the later participants become even more convinced that the first person must have known something they didn't. This simple example illustrates how informational cascades can rapidly amplify seemingly insignificant or even incorrect initial signals. The perceived wisdom of the crowd can easily overshadow individual judgment, leading to a collective shift towards a particular belief or action. The dangers of herding behavior become particularly apparent during times of uncertainty and crisis. When fear and anxiety are high, our natural instinct is to seek safety in numbers. This instinct, while understandable, can lead to disastrous consequences, as evidenced by the 2008 financial crisis. While the causes of the crisis were complex, herding behavior undoubtedly played a role. As uncertainty gripped the financial markets, investors began to follow the lead of others, ignoring their own analysis and risk assessments. This behavior, fueled by fear and a lack of independent thinking, created a domino effect that rippled through the global economy. The 2008 crisis serves as a stark reminder that following the crowd can be perilous, especially when the crowd itself is acting on fear and incomplete information. In times of crisis, it becomes even more critical to resist the allure of the herd and rely on critical thinking and independent judgment. So, how can we avoid falling prey to the pitfalls of herding behavior? The first step is awareness. By understanding the psychological mechanisms at play, we can begin to recognize situations where we might be unduly influenced by the actions of others. When faced with a decision, especially one with significant consequences, pause and ask yourself, am I making this choice based on my own assessment of the situation, or am I simply following the crowd? Seek out diverse perspectives, challenge assumptions, and be willing to go against the grain when your own judgment dictates. Remember, the crowd is not always right. Sometimes the bravest and most rewarding path is the one less traveled. By cultivating independent thinking and trusting our own judgment, we can navigate the complexities of the world with greater confidence and autonomy.